Now we are going to learn about the postulates of Niels Bohr. This question will be often asked in the 3 mark or in 2 mark. After finding certain drawbacks in Rutherford atom model, just to rectify the drawbacks, Niels Bohr he has given certain postulates. First we will see the postulates one by one. Here the first one is he has introduced the orbits, circular orbits in the case of atoms. Are you clear? So he said that the electrons they are revolving in the circular orbits around the nucleus. Let us imagine this is the nucleus. The electrons they are revolving around the nucleus in circular orbits. The circular orbits, that one was introduced in an appropriate manner by Niels Bohr. Here when the electron they are revolving in the circular orbits, he said that there is a centripetal force acting on the electron by the nucleus. There is a centripetal force acting in between the electron and the nucleus. The centripetal force is provided by Coulombian attractive force. Here the nucleus, that one is having positive charge and electron is possessing negative charge. Here there is a Coulombian attractive force is there. Are you clear? Coulombian attractive force is existing between the which two? Electron and the nucleus. That Coulombian attractive force, that one provides the necessary centripetal force. So this concept was introduced by Niels Bohr. So this is called as first postulate. Now we are going to learn about the second postulate. Okay. So here when the electron revolves in a particular orbit, that particular orbits they are all called as fixed orbits are called stationary orbits. Are you clear? In a particular orbit, while revolving around the nucleus, they won't emit any radiation. Are you clear? So all the electron they are allocated in a particular orbit and they have to revolve in the certain orbits, discrete orbits. Such orbits are called non-radiating orbits. Are you clear? In the postulate, the second postulate, he has told about the another kind of orbit called what is this? Non-radiating orbits. Are you clear? That non-radiating orbits, sometimes they are also called as stationary orbits. Make a note. The stationary orbit concept or non-radiating orbits, that concept was first introduced by Niels Bohr. For example, to understand the concept, we have to configure the electrons. In the first orbit, that is n is equal to 1. N is equal to 1 means the principal quantum number of the first orbit must be taken as 1. Here, 2 electron can revolve. It is already, is it clear? Specifically, the electron is allotted in the particular orbit. When they are revolving, when the 2 electrons are revolving in the first orbit, the 2 electrons, they won't emit any radiations. Are you clear? So, in the K shell, in the first shell, 2 electron can revolve. In the next shell, that is principal quantum number 2 means, in the L shell, how many electron can be? 8 electron can be there. These 8 electron, when they are revolving in this particular orbit, they won't emit any radiation. That's why these orbits, with respect to those electrons, they are all called as non-radiating orbits or stationary orbits. Are you clear? This is about the second postulate. Now we are going to learn about the third postulate. In the third postulate, he has told about the angular momentum of the electron. The angular, so whenever any electron or any other particle, when they are moving around the circle, definitely that particle, they will possess the angular momentum. So whenever any body moves in a straight line, that body will have linear momentum. Like that, here the electron, since it is revolving in the circular path, that angular momentum is possessed by the electron. That angular momentum of the electron, that is given by Niels Bohr. The formula is integral multiple of, n is nothing but integral multiple of h by 2 pi. So this is the formula. With the help of the formula, we are able to calculate the angular momentum of the electron. Are you clear? So here, if you want to calculate the angular momentum of the first orbital electron, instead of n, you have to substitute 1. if you want to calculate the angular momentum of the second orbital electron, instead of n, there you have to substitute 2. So depending on the quantum numbers, by substituting the value, we are able to calculate the angular momentum of the electron in all orbits. So here h is nothing but Planck's constant. Are you clear? H by 2 pi, nh by 2 pi. So this is the formula. With the help of this, we are able to calculate the angular momentum of the electron. Next, we are going to see the fourth postulate. Are you clear? I am going to write the fourth postulate here. Already I have told about the non-radiating orbits. For example, look at here. Here I will draw two energy level. I will draw two energy level here. Let us imagine the electron, it is here in the ground state. Are you clear? The energy of the electron in the ground state can be taken as E1. Are you clear? If sufficient amount of energy is given, what will happen? This electron, it will absorb the energy and it will go to the higher energy level. That higher energy level can be taken as E2. This is called as excited state. Here, if you supply energy, after absorbing the energy, what will happen? That electron, that one will be excited to the next level, next higher energy level. So this is called excited state. Are you clear? Depending on the energy, that one can be excited to any other higher level. So let us imagine the electron, it is excited to the E2 level, excited level. There, the electron will be there for certain duration of time. We have to find out how long that electron is there. That time is called lifetime. What is this? Lifetime. That lifetime will be very short. After that, what will happen? No, there is electron that will come back to the ground state. So when it is coming back, when it is descending down, when the transition takes place from excited state to ground level, the difference in energy will be emitted in the form of radiation. Especially in the form of electromagnetic radiation, the radiation will be emitted. So especially in the form of photon, the energy will be emitted. Are you clear? So how to calculate the energy of the emitted photon or radiation? The formula is, we have to find out the energy difference, E2 minus E1. The energy difference between the excited state and the ground state to be calculated. That energy difference that gives you the energy of the emitted photon or emitted radiation. With the help of this, we are able to calculate the frequency of the emitted radiation. So to calculate the frequency, we can use the formula E2 minus E1 divided by H. So by using this expression, we are able to calculate the frequency of the emitted photon. So there I have told about the first postulate. Second postulate is about non-radiating orbit. Third postulate is about angular momentum of the electron. Fourth postulate, that is about the emission of the radiation from the atom when the electron, when the atom, when it is making the transition from excited state to the ground state. Are you clear? So all the four postulates are very important, may be asked in the examination. Okay. Today we are going to talk about one of the important postulates of angular momentum quantization condition. Here we are going to derive the expression for the angular momentum of the electron with the help of the de Broglie's hypothesis. There is a link between the Bohr postulate and de Broglie hypothesis. Here, whenever any electron revolves in the orbits, it is not only simply moving in the circular orbit, in the meantime, they are moving in the form of waves. The electron, when they are moving in the form of wave, they are forming the standing wave patterns. Here, let us imagine a orbit. In this orbit, the radius of the orbit should be taken as small r, and the principal quantum number of the particular orbit can be taken as n. When they form the standing wave pattern, we are able to measure the wavelength of the particular wave, electron wave. Here, let us imagine the circumference of the orbit. The circumference of the circular orbit can be taken as 2 pi r. That is equivalent to n lambda. So this is the most important formula. With the help of this, we are able to measure the wavelength of the standing wave. Are you clear? For example, if you want to measure the wavelength of a particular standing wave, with the help of this expression we are able to measure the wavelength. Therefore, from this expression we can write it as lambda is equal to 2 pi r. 2 pi r is nothing but the circumference of the circular orbit divided by principal quantum number. With the help of this expression, we are able to measure the wavelength of the wave, standing wave, which is created by the electron in any orbit. By knowing the value of the radius of the orbit and principal quantum number, we are able to get the expression for the wavelength of the standing wave which is created by the electron. Let us take, here I have drawn the fifth orbit in hydrogen atom or in any other atom. So here n can be taken as 5. N is equal to 5 means fifth orbit. In fifth orbit, the standing wave which is created by the electron, that one will be of in this shape. Are you clear? For example, if it is n is equal to 5 means, and the radius of the fifth orbit can be taken as r5. So substitute here, lambda is equal to 2 pi r instead of r5, radius of the fifth orbit must be substituted, divided by principal quantum number 5 must be substituted. By knowing the value of the radius of the fifth orbit and substituting the principal quantum number, we are able to calculate the wavelength of the standing wave which is created by the electron. So like this, in the same manner we are able to calculate the wavelength of the electron in any orbit. So very simple one. Are you clear? With the help of this, problems may be asked. Note down this basic formula. With the help of this, we are able to solve the problem. Now, by using this expression, we are able to obtain the expression for the angular momentum of the electron in any orbit. Here, the thing is, let's take the equation. Here lambda is there. De Broglie, he says that the matter, electron, proton and other particle, they are not simply behaving as a particle. They are traveling in the form of wave also. So de Broglie wavelength of the matter wave can be obtained from the expression lambda is equal to h by mv. This is the formula already you have learnt in the previous chapter. This expression for lambda must be substituted here. 2 pi r, here I am going to substitute n lambda, h by mv can be substituted. Cross multiply this mvr can be combined. mvr is equal to nh pi 2 pi. So finally we are able to obtain the expression. Here mvr, m into v into r, that one gives you the angular momentum of the electron. So the angular momentum of the electron can be represented by small l, and that expression L that gives you the angular momentum of the electron in any orbit. So L is nothing but nh by 2 pi. Look at that, the derivation of the L that is derived with the help of the de Broglie's hypothesis. That is, Bohr postulate is confirmed by the de Broglie hypothesis. Here, the same L that could be written in some other form, n h by 2 pi can be written as h cross. Are you clear? So this is a final expression that you can obtain. H cross is nothing but h by 2 pi. By substituting the principal quantum number, we are able to measure the angular momentum of any electron in any orbit. Are you clear? If you draw the standing wave pattern in different orbits, you will get the different patterns. All the pictures are given in the textbook also. So if you go from interior orbit to the exterior orbit, the wavelength of the electron in the standing wave pattern, it decreases. Are you clear? Here how many waves are there in the fifth orbit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 waves are there. Sorry, 5 waves are there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 waves are created. Each wave is clear. It has got its own wavelength that can be measured by the expression lambda phi. Are you clear? So if you start drawing all the wave pattern in different orbit, you will get different structures. Are you clear? So very important one, may be asked the proof in the examination. Okay.